What's going on, everyone? Super excited that we're here again for another patch preview. Patch 2.6 is coming. Definitely, been a while since we did a major patch. Obviously, during the Horizon Cup, there was no substantial updates. So yeah, definitely been a long time since we managed to get something big going. We've got a big major patch coming. There was a dev diary a few days ago with, more of the details, but we have the patch notes right here. Let's get into it and break it down. Alright, here we go. Do you want to fight for justice, inflict pain on your enemies, or just go where you please? Kill Morgana and an updated, Dr. Mundo are here giving you new and exciting ways to take down your enemies in whatever style you please. They're also bringing tons of exciting updates with them. New ranked rewards are here, featuring a new currency, store, and pass to reward you for your climb even more. If you've been tired of playing against your least favorite champ, we've got you covered with 5 bans and champ select. Louise is joining me today, by the way. If you see a cat around the webcam, that'll be why. There she is. Where was I? You're also going to want to do some arm exercises since Ultra Rapid Fire Mode Earth is making its debut appearance on Wild Rift. Finally, it's been a minute since we've had some battle changes, and now the Horizon Cup is complete, ready to ruffle some feathers, showing some love to some champions who have been in need of it, and curbing the explosive power that's been all over the map. Check out the latest patch preview video. We have done that. We've seen this already, I'm sure. New champions, Kayle. Kayle, definitely very interesting. I think the thing I feel about Kayle is she's very binary. She's always been pretty binary on PC as well. She's either just been really good and quite dominant in the meta, or she just takes too long to get going and she's never good. Traditionally in Wild Rift, scaling champions are a bit better because it's much easier to get out of the lane phase without falling behind. So I would imagine she would be, my default assumption is that she'll be quite good. She scales very effectively. If you didn't watch the patch review video, essentially she starts as a melee carry champ, traditionally played in Baron or mid lane, and then every time you rank up your ultimate, I believe it's tied to, she basically evolves. Initially at level 5, her attacks start to become ranged instead of melee, and then eventually she starts getting this effect where she starts doing sweeping attacks, essentially, where she just attacks in a line and hits everything in a cone in front of her. After she stacks up, kind of like a Jax passive type thing, where when she hits enemies she gains attack speed, and then I think it's 5 stacks, so she starts doing these sweeping attacks with the swords, and it does a bunch of damage, and eventually she gets true damage. I think they said in this game, I think they removed that for PC, but it sounds like her true damage mechanic is making a return. But yeah, she generally builds attack speed on hit. You might see Gunblade being built. That was originally a Kayle item before it got removed, but other than that, probably Nash's Tooth. I would expect to see probably, AP Kayle probably be the go-to, so a Gunblade, Nash's Tooth, Rabadon's, Void Staff kind of build maybe. Not sure if the Gunblade would be good, need to be tested. Maybe you just go a raw Nash's, but her ult also is this big invulnerability ult. She targets an ally or herself, gives them an invulnerable shield, and then these swords fall down afterwards. She's a pretty cool character. I'll definitely give her a try in mid lane. Morgana, the full in. Morgana, traditionally, I guess I would say she's pretty much traditionally been a support for most of PC or post-PC League's history. What are you doing, Louise? These frickin' cats, man. She's trying to get down. Off you go then. Traditionally been more of a PC support. She's definitely had, what is this? Huh? She's definitely had a tenure. She had a small tenure as a jungler last year where they buffed her jungling. I don't know if they'll actually make that a thing in Wild Rift. If they don't, I expect she's probably mainly a support, but she definitely has a chance who played in mid lane. She was, a long time ago, she was played in the mid lane quite a lot. So her core ability is her first ability, which is this line targeted skill shot, very similar to Lux, except that it doesn't hit 2 targets, but it is a targeted or a line skill shot route. But it lasts a really long time. At max rank, it lasts 3 seconds. On PC, I imagine they'll keep something similar in Wild Rift, if not exactly the same. So it's one of the longest, if not the longest CCs in the game. The common joke is that when you get hit by Morgana binding, you'll get banned for going AFK because you get CC'd for so long. So yeah, traditionally, she can be played as a support, kind of like the Caitlyn for that reason, because you can do the bind to trap and just CC someone forever. Third ability is Black Shield, which is a very unique support shield spell, where essentially it gives her teammate a magical damage shield only, purely just mitigates magic damage, but also while they have the shield, they're immune to CC. So obviously this is really good for hyper carry style comps, or champions like Graves in the jungle who kind of have to get in their face and kind of get blasted by CC. It also means she's pretty good into stuff like Thresh, because if you have good reactions, you could just Black Shield the hook every time, and it just makes Thresh completely useless. But her second ability is this pretty reasonable wave clear ability. She puts a pool of tormented soil on the ground, I think it's called. So she could definitely see play in the mid lane as a result, because she has pretty good wave clear. I think if you have accessibility, especially Wild Rift, I think she could definitely be a solid utility focused mid laner with good wave clear and reasonably strong roaming. And then you have this really powerful CC tool plus the Black Shield in the mid game, and she gets a lot from levels. Her ultimate is that she latches out to all nearby enemy champions and shackles to them, and then after a few seconds she stuns everybody. So it's like the big AoE ultimate. Really good synergy with Zanya's. But yeah, she's kind of like Kennen, I guess, in that regard when it comes to team fights, where she wants to get into the middle of everybody and like get this big ultimate down and then like stasis to like buy time. And just bring a bunch of CC. She's definitely pretty fun. I think she's pretty healthy for the meta a lot of the time. But yeah, I am curious to see if she'll have like the jungling changes in, because she was a really good jungler essentially for like 1 or 2 patches in League before they decided she was a little too good in the jungle. But you know, we definitely need AP junglers in Wild Rift, so would not be upset if they made her a little better, or you know, good in that regard. Dr. Mundo rework. So I'm not a huge fan of the Mundo rework. I think visually it's very cool and the spells are kind of interesting, but he doesn't really get many more tools than what he has now. He might be very good, but it's just because of the same nature of like if he was good now. I think the biggest thing to watch out for is that his passive now, his new passive on his rework, enables him to basically ignore CC every 15 to 60 seconds. So just ignore a stun or a root or whatever. So you have to be cautious of that if he has his passive available. Definitely something to look out for. We're really trying to run you down. But past that, his kit honestly isn't dramatically different. He definitely has different spells, you'll notice different visual effects, but overall he's pretty much a very similar champion. So, you know, just dodge cleaver forehead and you'll be chilling. New features, champion select. We introduced 3 bans, talked about adding 5 in the near future. We feel like a big enough roster of Wild Rift now to be able to support and implement 5 champion bans. So this is kind of syncing up with competitive. If you haven't been paying attention, the tournament draft mode has been added to the game, and the competitive has now been 5 bans, much like PC, where you do the 3 bans at the start and 2 bans in the middle. And now, yeah, ranked is syncing up with competitive in that regard, because they've said that 2022 will be going forward with 5 bans as well. And I guess, yeah, once they've added Kale and Morgana, they feel like they've reached a solid time. Wild has been available in open beta for more time in some regions than others, and many of you are still belonging to new champions. Due to this, some regions will not launch 5 bans for the time being. That's really interesting. I wonder if this means like NA won't get 5 bans. That's curious. I don't like this, but I mean, whatever. Ranked rewards. Exciting update to ranked rewards are here. There's actually a dev diary that came out today. Today being the 2nd. You know, obviously the patch notes will come out when they come out, but there was a dev diary, like, I guess it would have been like, do the math, carry the 2, I don't know, it's like 17 hours before this video, so if you didn't see that one, it could be pretty good to read, but yeah, we can go over here. Rank rewards are coming, so there's a season reward track, very similar to the Wild Pass, you can see it here. You'll earn season points for playing ranked, which gives you a bunch of different rewards, like different baubles and you know, skins and icons and stuff like this, so that's really cool. I really like this stuff. You know, anything to encourage players to play ranked and take it more seriously. Yeah, you now get the glorious skin is now through season rewards, so you have to like farm the season track to get a glorious skin rather than just winning like the 10 games like you did before above gold. Gold plus players, you'll now get a skin overlay. I don't know if they have a picture of it here. Okay, they put it in the dev diary. Essentially, it's like a border around the skin in loading screen, so it looks pretty cool. I don't know if it evolves. I think you only get a gold one, but it'd be cool if it evolved to like, you know, platinum, diamond, emerald, challenger, master, whatever. Other exciting goodies like emotes, profile borders, and more will be on the track. And you get ranked coins and spend them in the ranked store. So this is the ranked store. It's very much like the Poro coin store, but it's a different currency that you get from doing the season track. And I assume you can store these up and kind of hold them forever, but I don't know. They might reset with every season. I think they haven't really said yet. But I would assume that they stick around, so you can farm a bunch of rank coins and then have them between seasons maybe. Or you might just end up using them all to buy everything per season. I'm not really sure. I'll probably speed run through it and I'll let you guys know. New store full of exciting new goodies. You can now get the previous season's glorious skins. If you didn't get these, this is really good obviously for like North American players, for example, LATAM players. Brazil, who couldn't get these skins in the past because, you know, you weren't able to play in season 1 and 2. They've said that Tryndamere and Jinx will now be purchasable. Tryndamere will be in season 4 and then Jinx will be in season 5. If you want to get those glorious skins, you can buy them from the ranked store. And we'll also include lots of new goodies you hope you'll love, like new emotes to show off your rank, recall effects, skin posters of glorious skins, and more. Very cool. And then there's also now the weekend reward series. This is all related to the season track. Essentially, every weekend you'll get 3 bonus games of progression, 3 wins of bonus progression. So yeah, you have 48 hours every weekend to get 3 wins, and in those 3 wins you'll get bonus rewards on your tracks. This is just encouraging people to play a bit more seriously on the weekend to try and get some of those bonus wins. Ranked season 4. Ranked season 4 is here starting December 5th at 3 UTC. That is 5 a.m. CET? CEST? I don't know what time comes on them anymore. It's either 5 or 6 a.m. I think. And then yeah, already clock up with the climb. It's so glorious around will be your reward. Good luck to everyone embarking on the climb this season. This skin's pretty cool. If you haven't seen it, you can check out Skin Spotlights. They have a video on this skin. It looks pretty nice. I like the second ability effect. Not too big on the ultimate compared to some of the other ones, but I think it's still a pretty nice skin. Although, you know, she does look a bit a bit waifu-y, you know, not trying to, this might be a bit controversial. Some of you in the comments might get a bit upset about these comments, but I don't know, I kind of like that she was a cool robot. Here she just kind of looks like a babe, but I mean, you know, whatever, I'll get over it, I guess, but you know, I'm just calling it how I see it. Wild Pass Season 4 coming. Shyvana skin looks pretty weird, IMO, but maybe the Shyvana players are parking out. I think the dragon does look pretty cool actually, but I don't know what's going on with her headpiece here, it's a bit strange. New players, yeah, so they added more to the tutorial essentially, where, you know, first they made it around Ziggs, because Arcade is huge. Go watch Arcade if you haven't seen it yet, not an ad, it's just really good. They redid the tutorial a bit, so it's more Ziggs themed, and then also you can choose whether you're like a beginner or an advanced, and you get more in-depth missions depending on how skilled you are, this kind of stuff. Ultra Rapid Fire, this mode is sick. I did a tier list yesterday, if you didn't see it, so you can be prepared to play Earth. Essentially, it's just, yeah, no mana, no energy, giga reduced cooldowns, like more movement speed, everyone's flying around and throwing like an insane amounts of spells. It's a very fun mode, definitely recommend giving it a try. Should be really fun on Wild Rift as well, to be honest, so definitely give it a go. New skins coming, so you can buy Arcade Vi and Arcade Ziggs, Blade Mistress Morgana, you know, they got the NAF releases, we got Viridian Kale and Blade Mistress Morgana. Honestly, Blade Mistress isn't that bad, but it's because they're saving, you know how it is, right? Don't get baited, they're saving the good skins for like in a month. In a month we'll get like, I don't know, let me look up Kale skins to decide which one is cool. In a month we'll get like, I don't know, like Psyops Kale. Is that one even cool? I don't know. Maybe we'll get Pentakill or something. You know, we'll get some sick Kale skin in like 1 month, let's be honest. We know how these things go. This isn't my first rodeo. Maybe we'll get Aetherwing. Aetherwing's kind of neat, right? Corporate Mundo is getting kind of like reworked. That's what this one means. It looks really cool actually, the new Corporate Mundo skin. Frozen Prince Mundo getting reworked for the new update. Explorer Shyvana Rage Mundo getting a bit reworked for the new update. Glorious Shadow coming with Mecha Kha'Zix and Mecha Rengar. They have really cool intros. The skins in game aren't quite as cool, but the intros are sick. So you know, you can rely on that. Warden Jax. I don't remember which one this is. Let me look it up so I can determine if it's cool for you. Looks alright, I guess. It's fine, maybe. And then the Crystal Rose skin lines. These are actually, this is a PC skin line, Crystal Rose, although they look very thematically different on Wild Rift. This is Crystal Rose Sona, but essentially, yeah, speaking of waifus, you know, this is the real waifu skin line. You got Bride Lux, you got Bride Sona, you got Husbando Ezreal. That's right. Yeah, I know the terms, you know, you little anime addicts. You think I don't know? But yeah, let's just move on, shall we? But yeah, you know, if you're interested in that, it's kind of lame, in my opinion, that Ezreal Lux got a new skin. They've only got about 700, but whatever. The Java one actually looks kind of nice, in my opinion. Does appeal to me. I love a big muscular prince. Accessories. You can only purchase accessories from a bunch of different sources. So we got the Earth Spatula, so you know, implies, I think there is an Earth event coming. I think they leaked it in the dev diary, right? So we got that coming. This is the one for the Hextech Mayhem game. Got some medals. I guess these are the medals as maybe emote rewards. You could use these. These are like a scaling glorious Orianna emote. That's pretty cool. Crystal Rose emote, Dunkmaster Darius. Oh yeah, it's not listed in here, so it must be coming later in the patch, but they did say Dunkmaster Darius is coming, so that's pretty neat. Some new recall effects. This one has 2022 on it, which is interesting. I don't know what it is. I wonder what that means. We got the new borders for Season 4. Oh, there's a glorious Home Guard trail, apparently. I guess that's this one. That's pretty cool. So you can get like a ranked reward trail. I imagine that will only last for the season, but still pretty cool. Oh yeah, and then Oriana's Glory and Shyvana's Collection. So this must be the Oriana ranked track reward. So neat. Events, Path of Justice, explore the simpler gravelly of Caleb or God for missions and grab either of them for free. Ultra Rapid Bingo, there it is. Sharpen your spatulas, hop in a cannon, get ready to complete missions to fill out your bingo card with some fun prizes. Crystal Rose event coming, so it's 3rd, 10th, 15th, so got a lot of events coming up, very exciting stuff. And then Hextech Mayhem, yeah, you get a nice Ziggs icon. Oh, it's actually an event as well, the Hextech Mayhem event, so 4 events coming this patch in the next 2 weeks, so that's pretty neat. Alright, champion changes. Amumu wants to make some friends and give them a hug, but recently he hasn't been performing the same across all levels of play, which has left him getting less hugs. We're increasing his gameplay options and lowering some of his teamfight power so we can make some new friends. So this is the Amumu mini rework that he got on PC. So he's losing a bit of base health, bit of base mana regen, but he's now getting the double charge bandage toss. This means he now has 2 stacks of his bandage toss with like a 3-second cooldown in between them. So the cooldown on each stack is a little bit longer than it would be before. But yeah, you essentially can build up 2 charges and you could stun twice. So it's actually pretty strong. This led to it being played as a support for a little bit in PC, but it doesn't really get played that much anymore, so I don't think it's that good. Wouldn't recommend it. Gives him a lot more level 1 damage though, because you see it's 80 base damage and now it's down to 60. But because he has 2 charges, he's actually doing 40 more damage than he was before. And then even at rank 4, you know, as long as you're hitting 2 bandage tosses, you're doing more damage than before, but It's more spread out between the two. Despair base damage, base flat damage is going up. This is really good for his jungle clear. Should potentially make him a little bit faster, but the percentage damage is going down. But the flat damage is more relevant for the early game, I think, generally. But I might be mistaken. Tantrum slow ratio is getting reduced a bit, and then the effect AoE range, radius, and the stun duration of the ult is getting kind of like normalized to 1.5. Overall, yeah, I think these changes put him in a bit of a healthier spot where he can do a bit more, you know, with his kit in a game. And then if he's still a bit weak, they'll probably buff him up a bit. But this could lead to him being played in the jungle a little bit more, or maybe even as a support, like I said. Ashe is underperforming a bit in lane, so bring up her attack damage in the early game to better match other carries' auto attacks. 6 AD, pretty substantial, you know, we talked about this before, but it's like every 10 attacks, you basically got a free auto. That doesn't add up over time. So it would make her a little bit stronger in the early game. Obviously, it improves her volley as well a little bit, I think. So overall, yeah, pretty nice for her. Caitlyn, the Sheriff of Piltover has been looking a bit strong since she's made her debut appearance. Her ultimate has been used too effectively as a poke tool, so we're cutting down its base damage. We want to preserve the power of Ace in the hole to execute Caitlyn's enemies. We want to make sure it's used to close a case, not open one. So just base damage lowered on the all around. Definitely understandable. It has like some insane like missing health ratio for some reason, right? You guys notice this? That it just has like some insane ratio. I definitely felt like the early game I was doing a bit too much damage. I don't mind it, but there's a lot in the late game. So, but overall, yeah, I mean, I guess it's just a nice nerf across the board. Gragas was dominated at all levels, but after all of our changes, he's been falling off a bit too much, especially in high-level play. We're cautiously giving back some of his power in the jungle. So increasing the maximum monster damage that his second ability does proves he's clear. And then also re-giving it back some of his base ult damage in the earlier ranks. This may make jungle Gragas a bit more, you know, viable, which I think is a good place for him to be. I think he's pretty unhealthy as a laner when he's good because of the nature of his passive, right? He just sustains. Just out-sustains everybody, right? So if he's out-sustaining and out-trading, he's really, really annoying to play against. So overall, yeah, I think it's a pretty nice change to push him more towards the jungle. We'll see if that actually makes him good. And again, AP junglers, we need him. So I ain't complaining. Graves continue to be a popular and powerful pick. We're reducing the power of his critical strike builds in particular, so that they are currently dominating the build paths of this outlaw. So they're lowering his crit multiplier and increasing the cooldown on quick draw. Seems like kind of small nerfs, but definitely might be noticeable, especially like that 1 damage spike. He's losing like a fair bit of damage on the crit, I think, overall. But yeah, I think it'll still probably be pretty good. Champion's really obnoxious, but we'll see. Aurelia is a strong champion in multiple positions and is even more powerful in the hands of skilled players. However, she's also ripping through opponents a bit too early in the game. So we're cutting down some of the base damage she gets from her passive to make it more difficult for her to brute force her way through the early game. So the on-hit damage is being lowered from 14 to 70 to 10 to 66, and then it's 10 plus 4, so it's 6 plus 4 essentially. So it's losing 4 base damage. Yeah, it's literally losing 4 base damage, basically. Which, you know, again, it does kind of add up. You know, in 10 attacks, you lost 40 damage, but it takes a while. And then Vanguard's Edge fixed a bug in tooltips where the wall duration was increasing with ability rank. It's always been constant at 3 seconds. Interesting. But I guess it hasn't actually been bugged. It was just bugged in the tooltip, so I wasn't showing it. But yeah, overall, not super substantial changes. She'll probably be completely fine. Surprised she's getting nerfed at all, to be honest. I mean, I don't think she's bad. She's definitely really... You know, if you're really good at Aurelia and you like smurf an enemy laner, it's really annoying, but I also think she's really hard to teamfight with in this game to the point of like almost unplayability. So Jace has been performing below our expectations since his release, so we're providing him with some buffs that we believe will allow him to shine bright in the Baron lane. So base AD per level going up, base armor going up. So these changes are really good for Baron lane. Base armor is always very valuable. You know, it's a very AD dominant role. Traditionally, you want to pick Jace into things like, you know, the Renekton or, you know, the Riven or stuff like this, like melee champs. He's kind of like that rage bully, but he just didn't have the armor to kind of live against these heroes, so he was actually like pretty awkward in that regard. To the Sky's base damage. This is the hammer form first ability. It's being buffed at later ranks for the most part. Not very strong, not much stronger early game, but the radius is also being increased. This enables you to use it on creeps and kind of catch someone in the AoE a little bit more effectively. Shock cannon base damage also going up ranks 2 to 5. So kind of interesting changes. Lowering, not really buffing his level 1 by much, but buffing like his you know 3+ basically. Not much of a change. It's the super early game. The mana regeneration of his melee form passive on his second ability is going up, and the modifier on his buffed acceleration or his shock blast that goes through the acceleration gate increased by 10%, just increasing the damage of his poke a little bit. This will definitely be noticeable, especially in the mid-late game. Your poke definitely starts falling off, but this will still make it feel really good, I think. Cannon is a safe and powerful pick who uses range, reliable cloud control, and high mobility to bully melee champions. We want to provide some counterplay for his opponents, so we are shifting his power. Thundering Shuriken's base damage is going down at early ranks and then up in later ranks. And then Electrical Surge's base damage is just going down at later ranks. So that's kind of weird. I guess this is, isn't Electrical Surge his third ability? I'm not sure if they're actually nerfing. Wait, now I need to check. I feel like Electrical Surge is the name of his third ability, no? I might be mistaken. I'm checking. Everybody calm down. Deep breaths. Anyway, like I was saying, Electrical Surge is the name of his second ability. So basically lowering the base damage of the auto-attack focused playstyle that you traditionally see in Baron lane, and then buffing up, maxing his first ability a bit, kind of trying to make it a bit more desirable to go back into that kind of maxing first ability playstyle, I suppose. But I think you'll still be probably maxing the second ability in most matchups. It's just more effective against melee champions. Misfortune. Misfortune has been needing some love for a while. We want to give her the ability to rotate and roam more, so putting some spring in her strut and giving her ultimate bit of a damage boost. So plus 15 move speed at all ranks on strut. That's pretty nice. Yeah, like I say, roaming, getting back to lane, this kind of thing. Although, to be honest, this effect is a little bit mitigated in this game due to the nature of the home guard effect that people get really often. Like, when leaving base, you obviously run really fast, so kind of everybody's MF, so it kind of sucks that, you know, she's not getting as much of a benefit from that as she would in like, League PC. And then, a nice 10% AD ratio, 5% AP ratio increase on the bullet time. This will definitely be noticeable. I think bullet time already does a lot of damage, but, you know, this is actually a really big ratio, because obviously it's over a large spell, it does a lot of damage, so 10% more ratio is actually pretty effective. Nunu and Willump have snowballed their way to the top again, this time due to some recent buffs to tanks in general. We're going to preserve the power that the boy and his Yeti have gained from itemization changes, but cut down slightly on how fast they can clear the jungle and eat through objectives in order to balance out this new strength, plus 1 second on consume. Will definitely be noticeable for sure in his jungle clear, especially in the early game, but probably not super substantial. Champ should still be fine. Senna. While Senna's not struggling power-wise, her ultimates were too inconsistent at long ranges. We're upping the missile speed so the Senna can have fewer mists and more hits on her long-range ultimate cast. I think this is a great change. Increasing the missile speed by 70% is pretty substantial. Yeah, I think it is really slow. I mean, I wouldn't have thought to make this change, or that they would have made this change necessarily, but I think it is a good change when I'm reading it. I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. It is really slow, really hard to hit across the map, especially the damage portion. Hitting the shield is fairly easy, but honestly, it was really hard to reactively ult because it was so slow. So this should definitely help Senna's like global game. I don't know if she necessarily needed the buff, but you know, I think it is a good change, and it will make her ult feel a lot better compared to how it should in Wild Rift. Soraka's a premier healer, but has still been lagging behind her fellow enchanters. We want to improve her ability to sustain her allies, while also making the trade-off of sacrificing her health more rewarding. She's just plus 10 at all ranks on Astral Infusion. You know, I keep saying, you know, plus 10, it adds up pretty fast, you know. 10 heals at rank 1, you got a free heal, basically. 9 heals, in fact. 8 heals, in fact, right? Yeah, 8 heals, you got a free heal. That's crazy, man. But yeah, these changes don't look like much, but they might make Soraka feel a little bit better. That's a good thing. Twisted Fate has dealt himself a powerful hand that has made him overwhelmingly dominant in high-level play, taking a few cards out of his deck to cut back some of his excess power, focusing on his ultimate range so he can't access almost every part of the map from the mid lane. So health per level go down a bit, so he loses 140 health at rank 15, or level 15, sorry. And then pick a card cooldown going up at earlier ranks. This is a nice change, I think. Also plus 0.5 at rank 4, but yeah, I think this is a good change, especially with how long he can hold the card. I do think it's really low, and he builds a fair amount of ability haste, so yeah, he was definitely really low on the picker cards. So this will definitely make it feel a little bit better, especially in those early skirmishes. He won't have quite as many picker cards. But it's also pretty substantial enough to his lane phase, to be honest, because especially against ranged champions, having access to pick a card quite consistently is very important. So we definitely feel that in the lane phase, or the fleet TF meta that's kind of been forming lately makes it really hard to kind of bully him out anyway, so he'll probably be fine for the most part. And then Destiny Outrage reduced a little bit. This gives you more time to ping your teammates that TF is moving, or, you know, be aware that he's rotating. You basically, yeah, get a little bit more time to respond before he gets the ultimate off. Veigar's a tiny master of evil, but he's falling a bit short on showing other mid that is just how evil he really is. We're boosting his baseline stats and damage, help perform better in lanes, so he can show his foes just how evil he really is. Same sentence. Base stats, plus 40 HP, plus 5 armor. The classic nerf is being reversed here. He's gaining these stats. That's pretty cool. And then a lot of base damage on his first ability, to be honest, plus 20. And then his ult is also getting 15, 10, 5 base damage. So actually, oh no, it's Dark Matter, sorry, not his first ability. But still, plus 20 on Dark Matter is pretty substantial. This actually, I don't know, you could be maxing Dark Matter now. The thing about Veigar on Wild Rift is that he doesn't need to actually use his first ability to last hit to get the stacks for his passive. He can last it with any ability. So I think maybe you could definitely now consider maxing Dark Matter. Especially because, yeah, I think it's very close, the break point of, at like one item, like Ludens or something, Dark Matter being able to one-shot creeps. I think with this little bit of base damage, like plus 20 or 15 or whatever, you should be able to actually consistently get the last hits. So maybe consider it, maxing 2, then 3, then 1. But either way, you know, just a little bit of base damage for her, by the way, it's nice. nice. These stat changes actually, I think, support bot lane Veigar quite a lot as well. Obviously, the dual lane, there's a lot of damage going on. You know, having a little bit more health is very nice, and having armor enables him to trade with AD carries a little bit more effectively. So this could be actually a nice buff to bot lane Veigar, which I think is traditionally where he fits better anyway in the dual lane. It's like a dual lane scaling carry mage, because in mid lane, anytime he's against something mobile or something that can kill him, it's very hard for him to move around the map compared to having like a support with him who can help him get places, and then he can use that kind of like scaling power to control the game in the mid lane, and he can enable an AD mid. You know, I think bot lane Veigar's a lot healthier. But this does seem like a nice buff to that as well. Xayah, our resident rebel, was in need of some buffs, but our recent ones left her flying a bit too high. Since players have adjusted their builds to match Xayah's higher attack damage, we're cutting back on some of her late game power. So -6 base AD, and then also cooldown of her second ability is going up. Traditionally, you max this second, so you'll definitely feel this in the mid game, I think. Yeah, overall, I think it's crazy, right? That Ashe had 52 AD and Xayah had 64. It's pretty nuts. But yeah, this is pretty substantial for Xayah in lane phase. Definitely weaken her lane a lot, which is very strong right now, especially because all of her abilities have really good ratios. So you'll definitely feel the base damage nerf of all of her abilities overall. Xin Zhao has recently been struggling to keep up with other junglers, with boosting his early durability and his late game scaling, so he can better sustain himself in the midst of skirmishes and teamfights, plus 40 base HP, plus armor per level. Nice changes. Xin Zhao was really meta for a short amount of time, but then he kind of disappeared. Be nice to see him come back, especially as like a good answer to like the Graves and stuff. It'd be kind of nice. Zed, the Master of Shadows, has been dominating across all skill levels. We're bringing down some of the strength of his early game to make it more difficult for Zed to get ahead and give him some vulnerabilities for his opponents to exploit. So reduce base armor, making those kind of 80-80 matchups a little bit more dangerous for him. And then also Shuriken base damage going down by 10 in all ranks. This is actually like multiplied as well, obviously, because if he's doing a shadow combo, he throws 2 Shurikens, so he's losing 20 damage in all ranks. And if he's doing an ult combo with 3 shadows, he's losing 30 damage. And so yeah, definitely, you know, it is a fairly noticeable number change, especially in the early game. Ziggs, holy mackerel! Ziggs' fuses have been burning and causing massive explosions all across the mid and dragon lane. We're getting a bit harder with our changes in hopes to curb some of his hex explosive power. Base health per level going down, base mana being reduced, which is actually quite substantial. He actually has pretty high mana cost in the early game, especially when they also increase the mana cost of his bouncing bomb, so really limiting how much early game harass he can do without running out of mana. I think actually a really solid change there. And then also his Mega Inferno Bomb cooldown is going up, especially in the late game. This was so low. It was like 25 seconds for his ult. And it just like a bajillion damage. Is super frustrating, so I'd love to see these changes. Actually, pretty substantial Ziggs changes. This might push him down in the meta a bit. Definitely making his early game a lot weaker, a lot more exploitable. He's already kind of fallen into the dragon lane a lot more in the mid lane. He kind of has the same issues that Veigar has. I think people have just got better at playing these assassins and these kind of like punishing champions, so it can be really hard to walk around the map as Ziggs. The main problem, or the main advantage that Ziggs had in that regard is that he didn't really have to walk around the map because he had huge range, so you could just sit in mid lane and try and poke people in the river or whatever. But yeah, definitely good changes that could actually make the champ weaker for once, which is crazy. Just imagine a world where we don't ban Ziggs every game. Unbelievable. So yeah, we got ARAM changes. Interested in those. And then gameplay changes, new items, Banshee's Veil. Mages have been lacking a good defensive tool, so we bring over Banshee's Veil from League PC. So it's a Nidasi Large Rod, a Negatron Cloak. Yeah, it says Nidasi Large Rod is 1440. I don't know if this is actually like a change that is coming in, because it's 1400 right now, right? So yeah, I don't know if this is just like a misprint, or yeah, if they're nerfing Nidasi Large Rod as well. I'm not really sure, because I think it's not in the notes, but it does say that it's 1440 here, so that's weird. 70 AP, 40 magic resist, 10 haste, and it got a spell shield. Really solid item, you know, anytime you're against anything that's very reliant on one spell, the Ahri, maybe the Veigar, you know, just kind of these combo champions, this gives you a really good chance to survive it. Even maybe Diana being able to block her initial first ability does, you know, stop her a lot. I don't know what the cooldown of the spell shield is. That would definitely affect how relevant it is. But yeah, anytime you're against an AP mid and you're an AP mid, this will be a solid buy for the most part, especially if there's something, yeah, that's really focused on hitting an initial engage. Yeah, really hard to play the Ahri against this kind of thing, because you can't like jump in and charm straight away. You know, they have time to react because you have to break the Banshee's Veil first. So yeah, generally just really good against like combo mages and, you know, even like Malphite and stuff, for example. Just champions that are very reliant on trying to get that kind of engage. It protects you a lot. Normally good at stuff like Orianna, Ziggs, these kind of champs. Edge of Night. This is like the AD equivalent, so it's Serrated Dirk, Jarum's Fist, 800 gold, 250 health, 50 AD, gives a spell shield, 10 armor penetration, so it's kind of like a Yumu style item. You trade haste for health, and you trade the movement speed for the shield. This would be a pretty solid choice for, you know, kind of these assassins that need it. Really good against, like, if you try to dive stuff like Varus, for example, or again, like the Ahri. Just these champions that have, like, these counter CC options. It'll help protect you. You know, if you set out on Varus, he can't ult you in return straight away now because you'll have the spell shield, which gives you more time to react and kind of, like, play properly in those kind of scenarios. So pretty nice situational item for those AD assassins. Hextech Mega Drive. So this item is the one. It's a Lost Chapter plus Giant Spell. It has a really weird stat line, I think. Health, mana, AP, and ability haste. And then it reduces the cooldown of your active items by 10% when healing or shielding your allies, and 15% when immobilizing. So this seems like a really good, you know, support item for stuff like Nami, maybe Lux, I guess maybe Janna with the tornado. And then obviously these all have heals and shields. The problem is that the active items that you can lower the cooldown of aren't super great, I guess. Like the two big examples that come to mind is like Redemption and Locket. So you can definitely go Locket and have a bunch of Lockets all the time, but I think you have to be careful because I think even if it's your own Locket, if you do it within 30 seconds, it will be mitigated by the Locket passive, right? Where you can't stack them. I'm pretty sure that will count for your own Locket. So maybe Locket won't be that effective. So it kind of leads to only Redemption, I guess. Maybe it gives you a chance to like build stasis against Zed, and then you have stasis all the time, so you're never a target. That might be like an idea. You know, if you're gonna get Dove as a support, you can build a stasis, and then your heals and immobilization effects will, you know, let's say you get a Nami wave, you can maybe even get like, you know, 2 stasises in one fight or something crazy. So yeah, that's like another example. But yeah, the other thing I can think of is like Redemption and Locket. But yeah, Locket has its own problems, and I don't know if having a bunch of Redemptions is really valuable. So this item is kind of a weird stat line where it only really works for like enchanters, and then also I don't really know if the active items exist to make it worth it. Extali Seed Jar. So this is a really interesting item. Yeah, when you and ally hit another plant, drops a seed that only you can see. I keep seeing Reddit and people talking about how broken this will be with honey fruit. This is not going to be the use case. It's going to be useless to be planting honey fruit. I'm like 99% sure. The useful things will be maybe putting a blast cone for a gank, but I think that's really situational. The best one will be the vision plant. Being able to pick up the vision plant, drop it in front of the enemy jungle, drop it in front of Baron, and then clear a bunch of vision will be really useful. That would be kind of the main application. But again, it's kind of a weird stat line. It's very cheap, and it has nice resists, but and it does have 5 movement speed on it, which I think makes it a lot better. I don't know. I just think it looks like a weird item. It will really just depend how much you can get value-wise from the utility of picking up the seeds. But yeah, I don't think honey fruit is it, guys. First of all, you're never gonna rush this item, right? Like, no one's gonna build this item first, I think, because the effect is... Unless, like, the vision game becomes really good, I don't think anybody's rushing this item. And then even if you do, supports go boots first, so they need to get, like, 4k gold just to start planting honey fruit around the map. Like, it doesn't even exist as an option. It's ridiculous. But yeah, it could be cool for the vision game. I guess maybe you would have to rush it, because supports get no gold, you know? Maybe they could build it as a second item, but yeah. Like, maybe Rakan can go, like, Rod of Ages into Extali Seed Jar, and it'll be, like, not that bad. I don't know, that's like the first example I can think of, I guess. But we'll see what happens. I think the concept is cool, but we'll see how it works. I don't know. It's definitely an interesting item at the very least. Item adjustments. Rod of Ages stacking rate increased by 15 seconds, so it takes 150 seconds longer to max stacks, from 5 minutes to 7.5 minutes. This is a really good change. Ro is really broken, to be honest. It has been for a while. It's definitely a noticeable nerf to champs like Diana. TF is already getting nerfed, and he's getting his core item nerfed. Galio will build the Rod of Ages. You know, these kind of champs will definitely feel Gragas. It'll take longer for them to reach kind of that max tankiness and damage potential that they had before. I don't think it's a solid nerf. Rune changes, Font of Life. Mark duration's getting lowered, and the cooldown is getting increased for both ranged and melee champions, because Font of Life is apparently getting picked too much. Don't think it's insanely OP, honestly. But yeah, I guess it's just making it more more specific when you're kind of choosing your rune and giving Ahri and Aftershock more obvious use cases. Guilds, getting some guild updates, so you can share the URL and stuff like this. Arcane themed guild icons, this kind of stuff. Close friends is getting some nice quality of life updates. Communication, emotes from allies can now be seen on your HUD at all times, and added an option to mute different kinds of player communications separately from the scoreboard. This is really good. This assumes you can mute pings now finally, which is great. I mean, I play with chat off anyway, but having option to mute pings and stuff is a really good addition that I really appreciate. And then share screen has been improved. There's some new control settings. I don't know what this one means. Players can now target friendly allies with tap casted abilities. I don't know if this means you can have like a portrait lock for allies or something. I don't know what that's about, but seems interesting. Adding a setting to lower camera height can be cool. Upgrading the target lock setting to target locking completely, allowing only tap casts. Again, I don't really know what this means. I'm assuming this means that you just can't hold abilities anymore. and it's not going to be like Vainglory where you can play like tap style, which would be kind of crazy if they just randomly added that, but you know. And they also added new control default presets that will help new players access a simpler set of controls, so just cool stuff. Upgraded intentional losing detection and penalties for reporting. Very vague, but hopefully it works. Events now have a countdown timer. Solari charge mode has better effects. Improved device power consumption in 90 and 120 FPS mode. Please give me 120 FPS mode on my phone. Thank you, Riot Games. Optimized multiple parts of the matchmaking algorithm, particularly for pre-mates and new players. Could be Pog, who knows? Maybe I can play on my main next season. And then added the option to enable or disable push notifications from the settings menu. And there's the free chat rotation. So yeah, that's patch 2.6. Definitely a pretty cool patch, it seems. Like, so a lot of cool stuff coming. Definitely excited for the new champions. And yeah, I like that they hit a few things from the Horizon Cup, like Zed and TF and Ziggs. Like, these kind of champs are really dominant, and I'm glad they got hit a bit. Surprised Renekton didn't get any nerfs, but I guess we'll just continue with Renekton dominating the game. Didn't get Camille or Fiora nerfs either, but it is what it is. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this patch review. Make sure to leave a like if you did it. You can also subscribe to the channel for more content like this, and I will see you guys on the next video. Have a good one. Peace.